For every single person who works here, kosher is not something that they practice just over the weekend. It is something that is part of our life.
The employees here are extremely dedicated, the rabbinical staff, and it shows.
OK Kosher has been in the industry since 1935.
My father started working in kashrus. He was investigating factories and finding out that things that we may have assumed to be kosher were really not kosher. At that time, the way of ascertaining the kashrus of a product was to read the label. So his innovation, so we say, from kashrus was going back to the source.
From the outside, we look like an office with people working at desks, but what drives all of that is a unique passion for making kosher food more available to those people out there who rely on it, which, by the way, is not just religious Jewish people.
Especially vegetarians and vegans, they want to know a product is pareve, doesn't have any traces of meat or dairy, allergy-sensitive people.
And then, of course, there's just the vast majority of consumers who actually see kosher certification as a quality stamp and a purity symbol.
Being on the shelf, kosher product next to a non-kosher product, identical products. The kosher one will sell 5 times better than the non-kosher.
One of the only food trends that's constantly growing every year at a significant and constant rate, has around a 15% growth rate every year.
One of our slogans is kosher without compromise. We don't compromise on kosher standards, but we also don't compromise on our professionalism.
We all care about kosher. So the kosher without compromise is important to each and every employee here in the office, and of course all our rabbis in the field.
The uniqueness of the OK is that our rabbinic coordinators just don't sit behind desks. They themselves go out into the field and inspect all their facilities. So this builds a trust by the companies and by the consumer public.
From Europe to America, there's always somebody on call.
We have offices in Japan, China, South Korea, Vietnam, Russia, Belgium, another large office in Israel.
When a company calls us for a kosher certification, there's definitely no one-size-fits-all certification. So it's our role really to listen very carefully.
What's interesting is that the OK certifies mom and pop operations and Fortune 500 companies. Every company is different. Part of the things that we pride ourselves is that we can customize and tailor our systems to work well with your system.
Having a partnership in a kosher program means that we're thinking about it all day. I may not take calls at 2 a.m., but I could write an email at 2 a.m. sometimes if an idea comes into mind, because that's a partnership. We feel ownership.
We build together a trust between our boss company. The rabbi in charge of our supervision have to understand the spirit of the company, and vice versa. So the confidence between us is key.
It's such an interesting thing that this small mark, that OK on the bottom, how far it goes and how much it means, and really what goes behind it. When you see how much effort is put from the OK Kosher rabbis and the staff and all the people that work for them to build a system, build a process that can really properly supervise the products, that you see that mark means so much more. So the OK mark really means a lot to us, and it really means a lot to the consumer.
The OK certifies close to 700,000 products. Without the help of the latest technology, it would be impossible.
The OK is actually a pioneer in establishing a kosher database, and when customers bring us their list of raw materials, we can compare it against that database.
One of the rabbinical coordinators would go to visit the facility and see, are they actually using these ingredients? What else is being made in the facility? Does the facility need to be kosherized?
Even when changes are necessarily, our rabbis are experienced enough to work those schedules around the company schedules.
We have rabbis in our office who have chemistry backgrounds, food chemistry backgrounds, and food science backgrounds, who really understand how an ingredient is made.
Every company has formulas that they rely on that are important to their business, and it's a sensitivity that our rabbis really have. It's a dedication that we have to our customers to really help them out in a way that's going to work without compromising our standards, but also without compromising the values that they have.
Kosher certification is really a two-part process. The setting up the facility is one step, and once it's set up, we have to make sure how we will continue monitoring to ensure to the public that this company is continuing in the kosher protocol.
throughout our growth, the personal touch of the OK was never lost. And for us, that relationship and that trust is really the most important part of the business.
One of the hardest items for us to source is kosher bison. I mean, we're bison and bourbon. But when speaking to Kalman, our head mashgiach, or our head rabbi, he said we can find someone, a rabbi, that can slaughter for you specifically. So that's where I feel like the partnership comes in, is that like they're willing to go so far out and literally finding us a bison.
Between the dedication, the knowledge, and the technology, we try to give the people as good a service as possible, and also to try to do it in a friendly manner.
We've been doing this for over 80 years. You can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with the experience of 80 years.